I still remember the first evening I realized something was wrong. We were all gathered in the living room of my brother's cozy townhouse, the soft glow of string lights above casting a warm, homey feel. It was just supposed to be a regular family night, takeout pizza, board games, laughter. But there was tension in the air, and I couldn't ignore the dark cloud that seemed to hang over my sister-in-law Emily. Earlier that day, she had asked to borrow some money, not from my brother, but from me. It seemed innocent enough. She said she needed a little help covering a medical bill she'd forgotten to file insurance for. Just a couple hundred, she insisted, her voice unsteady. My heart clenched when I looked into her eyes. I could tell she was embarrassed. I slipped her cash and told her not to worry, but inside I felt uneasy. Now, as we played charades, Emily was quieter than usual. Her smile felt half-hearted, like something was off, but she was determined to push through. I caught her glancing at her phone, jaw tight, then slipping it back into her pocket when our eyes met. I felt protective of her, but also confused. Later that night, when everyone headed to bed, I crept downstairs to find her still up in the kitchen, rifling through paperwork spread across the counter: bills, bank statements, credit card notices. My breath hitched. She didn't notice me. Instead, she crumpled up a letter and cast it in the trash, shoulders shaking. I hovered, torn. I wanted to step in, to help her, but instead I grabbed a glass of water and slipped back upstairs. I fell asleep with my heart pounding. The next morning, I texted Emily, "Hey, are you okay?" She replied almost immediately, "Just stressed. Thanks for asking." But her message didn't console me. I decided to dig deeper. Over the next week, I noticed subtle signs: late night calls she took in hushed tones, repeated mentions of mispayments, hints of financial pressure that sounded far bigger than just a medical bill. I confronted myself. Was I being nosy? Should I respect her privacy? Or was there something more serious going on, maybe one of those overwhelming debts that ends up impacting everyone close to the sufferer? I kept picturing my brother, kind and trusting. What if she was hiding something that would destroy their marriage if it came out? The day it became real was the Saturday afternoon I stopped by unannounced. I knocked, and Emily opened the door, her eyes wide with surprise. She forced a smile. We chatted, but I noticed an envelope peeking out from her purse as she handed me a cup of coffee. On it I saw the name of a debt collections agency, a few $1,000s owed. That afternoon, I drove home shaking. I paced inside my apartment, rash thoughts swirling. Should I tell my brother? Should I even talk to her about it? If I confront her, would she calm down and come clean? Or would she shut me out and then what? Leave my brother in the dark? My mind flashed to times growing up. My brother reliable, never one to leave his wife out, always planning together, joking about starting a savings for a house. I sat on the couch, guilt and fear swelling inside me. I decided to talk to Emily directly. She invited me over, and I arrived feeling nervous, palms sweaty. She opened the door, tears already shining in her eyes. I stepped in and said softly, I see you've been struggling. I found one of your letters, debt collection." She backed away, eyes filling with panic. "No, please don't bring this up," she whispered. "It's nothing really. I can work through it. But if Mike finds out, he'll hate me for lying." Her voice cracked. I felt her genuine terror and shame. "All I wanted was to cradle her in my arms and say it would be okay," she explained. The debt was much larger than she let on. Unexpected surgery bills, combined with living expenses after quitting her job 6 months earlier to help her mother who'd fallen ill. She had promised herself she'd pay it down quietly, that she could handle it without burdening my brother. "He'll see me as irresponsible," she said, and there it was, my moral knot tightened. If I told Mike, I would betray her trust. I'd break what felt like a fragile promise to protect her. But by staying silent, I'd be letting him live in ignorance of something that could ruin them long term. I paced her living room, the moral lines blurring beneath my feet. I told her, "I care about both of you. But I can't sit silent when I know this might break your marriage or his trust in you later on. And he might never forgive me for hiding it." Her face crumbled. She sank to the couch in tears. "I did this because I love him," she sobbed. "I thought I could fix it without hurting him." Then she asked the question that broke me. "Can I trust you not to tell?" I hesitated. My throat tightened. I looked at her, shoulders shaking with regret and exhaustion. I wanted to say yes, but my heart said no. I needed to hear her promise to involve him, to face this together before it spiraled out of control. I can't promise that, I said gently. But I promise if you don't talk to him soon, I'll tell him. Because I love him too. Her tears wet the curls at her collarbone. She nodded, but I saw her fear, that speaking up might break what's left of their financial security, or their relationship. I could see the struggle between her pride and love. 2 days later, my brother invited me to lunch. I sat across from him, heart pounding. I was going to tell him, right here, in this bright cafe filled with lunchtime chatter. I thought about Emily at home, vulnerable, waiting to make peace with her own confession, and then I froze. The waiter approached. Mike said, smiling, coming through, and I nearly spilled my coffee. I couldn't yet. I wasn't ready. I'd built it up so much. Inside, I heard Emily's broken voice repeating my words back. Promise, if you don't talk to him soon. That was my breaking point. I put my palm on the table and steadied myself. Mike, there's something we need to talk about. I trailed off, hearing the weight of what was coming. How do you decide what's more important? Protecting someone's confidence or protecting them from a future disaster? Emily trusted me not to betray her, but my silence was betraying my brother in a different way. It may tear them apart, or it may force a healing conversation. I looked up, hands trembling, and began the hardest conversation of my life. I sat there, the words balancing on my tongue like a fragile glass about to tip. My brother was cheerful, clueless, laughing about how Emily had been crazy busy lately and how they were planning a small getaway for their anniversary. Every bit of his happiness twisted the knife deeper. I cleared my throat. Mike, I need to tell you something about Emily, and I'm only telling you because I love you both and this can't stay hidden. His smile faded. He set down his fork and looked at me, brow creased. What is it? I swallowed hard. My pulse thundered in my ears. She's in debt, a lot of debt. She didn't mean for it to happen this way, but it's become more than she can handle alone. For a moment, he just stared at me, blinking. Then, debt? What kind of debt? Medical bills, mostly. Some credit cards. She's been trying to pay it off quietly because she was afraid to tell you. The words spilled out faster now, like I couldn't hold them back any longer. She didn't want you to see her as irresponsible. Mike leaned back in his chair, face pale, his jaw clenched. How much are we talking? I hesitated. At least several thousand, maybe more. He exhaled sharply and scrubbed his hands over his face. Why wouldn't she just tell me? His voice cracked hurt disbelief. We talk about everything. Or at least, I thought we did. I felt a lump in my throat. She was scared, Mike. She loves you. She thought she could fix it without worrying you. He shook his head, eyes glistening. But now I'm finding out from you. I reached across the table and gently touched his arm. I didn't want to betray her trust, but I couldn't live with myself if this blindsided you down the road. I told her she needed to come clean. I gave her a chance to do it first. For a long moment, we sat in silence, broken only by the soft clatter of dishes around us. Mike looked shattered. I hated myself for being the one to put that look on his face. Finally, he whispered, "Thank you. I don't know what to do now." I squeezed his arm. Talk to her. Listen to her. This wasn't malicious. She was drowning and didn't know how to ask for help. Mike nodded slowly, lost in thought. I need some time to process this. When I left that cafe, I felt both relief and an unbearable ache. I'd done what I believed was right, but it had caused pain. Was there truly a right choice here? I still wasn't sure. That night, Emily texted me. He knows. My heart pounded. I replied, "How are you?" Her answer came quickly, broken. But maybe this needed to happen. I wish it didn't have to come from you. I stared at her message for a long time, guilt washing over me in waves. Had I betrayed her? Saved them? Both? A week later, Mike called me. His voice was steadier. "We're going to counseling," he said. She opened up. "It's bad, but we'll face it together." Tears stung my eyes. I whispered, "I'm so glad." But even now, months later, I sometimes lie awake replaying it all. Should I have pushed Emily harder to tell him herself? Should I have stayed silent longer? Did I damage their trust or ultimately help rebuild it? I still don't know. All I know is that sometimes love pulls you into directions, and no choice feels clean. What would you have done? Would you have told your brother or kept your sister-in-law's secret? I'd love to hear your thoughts.